So this is the PAM Masterclass. Thank you all for joining. And it's a little bit different because a lot going on in the world. Obviously, our hearts go out to the helicopter that crashed in the Hudson River near Manhattan today. I understand that 4 have died. But before that, we had Bernie Sanders on a town hall meeting. He was talking a lot of things, but the main thing we're hearing from, that's good. The main thing that we are hearing a lot about is a lot of chatter, and that started at the beginning of the year about DEI, whether this has to go away, all the firings, and all the things that Elon Musk is doing. So I pulled out this letter, and this is the Willie Lynch letter and the making of a slave. And I pulled it out because it reminded me that what George Fraser has always said, that nobody's going to save us. And he was the first cover of Speakers magazine many, many years ago. Our mentor, Uncle George, right? He's one of the ones that no one is coming to save us, that we've got to save ourselves. And so PR marketing and branding should never stop. It's an ING's continuum. But what I want to talk about today is how we need to come together more than ever. And it's really up to us to save ourselves from an administration that obviously does not care about Black people. So we're going to talk about PR strategies, that thing, but we're going to really talk a little bit more about something much bigger. And the word that I had for the year was leverage, but this is really bigger than leverage. It's more or less like collaboration. So I want you to write down, collaboration is the new Black. It is the new Black. And if there's ever been a time for a business person to really understand that, it's now. We've been sold the idea that business is a solo sport and everybody's got to be doing their thing on their own. They've got to hustle in isolation. But, stop believing that hype. That is not the way to really focus in order in this season, especially. If you ever see anyone shining, they didn't do it alone. They didn't do it alone. So one of the main things I want to make sure that you understand is that people are being sold this illusion that everything happens in a vacuum, that you could just grind it out alone. You can keep your eyes on the paper. One day you'll make it, but everybody's not doing fabulous. No matter if you see stuff on the gram, it looks like they're doing fabulous. They are not. Case in point, we thought Pinky Cole was doing great, right? That she was doing all that slutty vegan. We watched her rise. We saw her brand just get all the buzz. She's getting the bag, but behind the scenes, especially within the last year, it all fell apart. We can't believe all the hype. And I can't say that it's because she wasn't in collaboration, but she lost her business. If you didn't know, go Google a slutty vegan. But it looked like she was winning. So what I want today is to make sure that in terms of PR and marketing, it just doesn't look like you're winning, that you are actually winning. And you just can't look like it. And I love social media. Trust me, it's an amplifier. You promote, you amplify, you market. But social media or PR is not to showcase something that is fake to be real. Because we know just because you have the loudest voice doesn't mean that you are going to be speaking the truth. Even with me, fact check me. What am I saying? I'm going to be talking about the Willie Lynch letter, right? This right here. It's a book, and the making of a slave. It's a parable. They said it wasn't really a true book, but it's a parable from the standpoint that this man says, we don't have to kill the slaves. Let's just have them turn on each other, and then we can keep them enslaved. I'll read you one little part so you can kind of know what I'm talking about here. Because I saw this, and it says, this was like towards the end of the book, and it was really a way to talk about, how to keep people in a slave mindset, right? And the message is still alive today. They were saying like this whole thing. So it talked about us not buying from each other and buying, okay, it says, basically it's this fictitious voice of the slave owner talking to slave masters. But fast forward, if this were the thing, he says, now, if we want you to control at least 90% of all the resources of wealth of this nation, and we only have Black people to thank for that. So he just said, we control 90% of all the resources and wealth in this nation, but we only have, he says, we can only think of the sacrifices you and your families have made it all possible. You were there when it all began. You are still with us today, protecting us from the Black people who gave us the tyranny to speak out against our past transgressions. Thank you for continuing to bring 95% of what you earn to our businesses. This is, quote unquote, the Willie Lynch voice. It says, thank you for buying the Hill Fighters, the Nikes, and all the other brands you adore, right? Because we all know that big consumers. He says, your super rich athletes, entertainers, and business persons, both legal and illegal, exchange most of their money for our cars, jewelry, homes, and clothing. What a windfall they provided for us. The less fortunate among you spend all they have at the neighborhood stores, enabling us to open even more stores. Sure, they complain about us, but they never do anything to hurt us economically, except this year, they're boycotting Target, right? It says, allow us to thank you for not bogging yourselves down with the business of doing businesses with your own people. We can take care of that for you. This kind of made me cry. It says, you can just keep doing business with us. It's safer that way. Besides, everything you need, we make anyway, even kente cloth. Well, this right here did not come. This is actually African. We just continue, you just consider to continue to dance, sing, and distrust and hate one another. So that's really like the whole point of what this Willie Lynch letter talks about in terms of the mentality of not trusting each other, not working together, not collaborating. And the biggest way for you to get PR and marketing and business is for us to work together. Before there was internet, we would recommend, refer other people to other people. And I don't want to say it's old school, but people just think that I can buy a bunch of Facebook ads and I'm going to have a business. But what happens if someone who is an authoritarian comes in charge and with his person that is with him that says, we're going to just fire all these folks, we're going to get rid of these folks, we're going to get rid of DEI, what happens if all of that, it is happening, that happens? Where do we go? Yeah, we can buy Facebook ads, but that's owned by Meta. Or we can get on Twitter, but that's owned by X, whatever, owned by a line. So what do we own? What do we own? What can we do? And really, this goes on, it says, and we really want to thank you for not reading about the many Black warriors that participate in the development of our country. We thank you for keeping it hidden from your younger generations. Thank you for not bringing up glorious deeds. So it just goes on. It's almost like a tongue-in-cheek of like, this is what you do in order to keep someone in slave mentality. I'm a part of another organization called the Black Door Society. Unapologetically, it talks about, we are a group of Black women that are about sisterhood, honor, safety, integrity, opening doors of opportunity and networking with each other. And that's what we should do, all of us. I think Natalie's in here. She's part of that group as well. Natalie Solomon. Yeah, she's in the group as well. But we just had the induction of the group, and smart women in this group. And I couldn't be more proud of the women in the group. We work together. So, like I said, Uncle George Frazier was a person that said, no one's going to save us. We have to save ourselves. So this past weekend, Rashawn McDonald was at Dexter's event. All right, Dexter B. Jenkins. Dexter Jenkins is an author, speaker, and a real estate investor. He's also a pastor. Well, I introduced him to Rashawn. Rashawn was on the cover. Rashawn is good friends with Steve Harvey. So all this talks about collaboration, friendships, building things out, not being so self-centered. Quit acting like you can do everything by yourselves. We grow our businesses faster when we work together. We join forces. There's no competition. Among African Americans, it should be community. It should be community. It should be no competition. It's like, oh, well, this person's going to do that. Because even like there's a magazine, Courageous Woman magazine, we collaborate. We don't go after the same, uh, we have different markets. There's enough for everybody. So when people, fight this whole Willie Lynch syndrome kind of thing, when people are fighting, it's because they have a scarcity mentality. They don't believe that that there's enough for everybody. And it really is. If we're going to fight, we need to fight to work together. We need to fight to join forces. We need to collaborate. Uh, Basically, we're building relationships, referrals, building reputations, recommendations, no longer solo. I look at everybody who is on the cover of the magazine. Uh, Dexter had a book, and he had LaShawn Holland do the forward, who I introduced him to. He and Rashawn became really, really good friends. Rashawn is a real estate investor and a millionaire as well. LaShawn versus Rashawn. Rashawn had him on his podcast, and he also did an endorsement. Kadena Tate, which is another person that I introduced him to. So you see what I'm saying? We have people in our lives, and we know what other people do, but sometimes I think we're so self-centered and selfish that we don't understand that you are a string in the pearls to connect the dots for the people. You are the string, but you're putting the pearls together. You're putting people together. There is Dr. Vicki Wright Hamilton, the forward of her book that she did, the successful Black single mothers, was Janice Robinson. Again, another magazine publisher that I collaborate with. Okay, I got people in the waiting room. I'm sorry. Let me get, okay. I'm going. Here we go. Sorry, Linda. Hey, TJ. Hey, Dr. Lugenia. So one of the main things is that she used the connections of me to put in together for her book. But her documentary was a group of women that she's in Women in Tech. And this group that she has, she helped, volunteered with them for many decades, helping to pour into these ladies. Fabulous documentary. Oh my God, I just cried while I was watching it because they were there, now they're here. They're really on the come up. But it was because people put their hands into really helping them grow. So Vicki is a person that when you look at her success, it's because she's given back. All right. She's given back. She did all of that, not for the accolades to be on the cover of Speakers Magazine. Yes, PR marketing is important, but it was her heart that was really the main thing that was shaping her success. Same thing with Dexter, his heart. Same thing with Brian. Brian has the Black Speakers Network. We partnered together. I remember one day I saw what Brian was doing, and I wasn't like jealous and I wasn't envious. It's like, oh, well, I don't know why he's trying to get the Black Speakers Network together. I could do that too. No, I called him up and said, hey, I like what you're doing. Let's do something together. Ended up being the official magazine for speakers. He was around about a year before speakers started. I didn't even know about him, but he went from 1,400 members. And because I was always telling people to join it, to 14,000 members. All right. And I'm just one person. I'm not saying this to brag like, oh, if you know me, you're going to know everybody. No, you need to open your mouth and connect people together as well. I learned it from my mentor, George Frazier. And basically one of the things that George is 82 now, a lot of his friends are my friends. I talked to one of his friends today, Alexandra Boone, Alex Boone. She's in Cleveland. And she was telling me about the National Urban League being there in July, their national convention. And I told her that I will be at the National Association of Black Journalists. That will be in Cleveland in August. She said, she's on the committee for the National Urban League. She says, I'm going to give you a media pass for Speakers Magazine. I didn't ask, I didn't call her for anything. I was just calling to see how she was doing. We don't do that enough. We don't call on and check on people how you doing or whatever. We may like their posts. Half time we don't even like their posts on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, but really just picking up the phone and calling. In this time right now, relationships are so important. I remember Dr. Will, he was on the cover of Speakers Magazine. And I always liked what Dr. Will was doing. And he says, hey, can you help me promote my books? I said, sure, no problem. I can help you promote your books. And I ended up having him meet certain people and, just making the connections. If you have a like mind with someone and I hear your heart, I'm a perceiver, so I hear your heart, then I'll connect you. So he's had great relationships. He's had great success. Well, out of that, I didn't know that just wanted to help him, just to help him, right? Because I liked him and liked what he was doing. He's talking about leadership. And he said, I'd like to nominate you for an honorary doctorate. That's why I got Dr. Pam Perry, because of Dr. Will. Dr. Will put in a word, did all the things. And in 2020, during COVID, I had my little doctorate hat on, right? And the same thing with Rashawn. Rashawn McDonald, if you're not familiar, he's helped Steve Harvey with his career. He actually, one of his things that he says a lot, he says, Steve Harvey, he used to be a stand-up comedian. He said, Steve Harvey opened for me back in the day. But anyway, he ended up being Steve Harvey's manager. And long story short, he was instrumental in orchestrating his career. He did Family Feud and all the other things, the books, the movie deal, all of that was Rashawn's brain. He now does podcasts for Stephen A. Smith and some other people and things like that. So he's really a behind the scenes guy, but he's really the type of person. I say that because Rashawn showed up at Dexter's event. He came from Atlanta. Where's Dexter's at? He came all the way from Atlanta he had never met Dexter in person, to Boston on his own dime to meet him. And he spoke at his conference. He came, he left, and he went to LA to do something else. But that's the kind of thing, relationship wise, just showing up, not just saying, oh yeah, but just showing up at the event and doing the endorsement for the book. He didn't have to. He didn't get anything out of that. He just wants to see people win. And this time right now, we need to know how to make intros. We need to know how to refer each other. If you've been on a podcast and the podcast went really good, tell us about Alicia. Alicia will go on podcasts for things like that. And she'll say, that was a really good podcast. I have someone else that I like to recommend that will be just as good. It's not taking anything away from Alicia or anyone else. If you've been on a podcast that you think was good, or newspaper reporter that interviews, it doesn't take anything away from you to recommend at least one person that that reporter or that podcaster would enjoy talking to as well. It will help boost them up. It's sowing seeds. A lot of times people are so upset about what's going on right now because they haven't sown seeds. They have just been all about themselves. They've been very self-centered, trying to be quote unquote self-sufficient, but you're not self-sufficient. No one's going to be self-sufficient. We all have to depend on each other. It's interconnected. One of the things, if you can learn and study about the civil rights movement, it was all about people interconnecting. They were meeting in churches, they were helping, they were boycotting and things like that. I'm not saying that we do that, but we do need to open our mouths, lock arms, have synergy energy, which was one of my first books. And so tonight, I just really want to challenge you, like, who can you collaborate with? Who can you lift up as you climb? Who can you promote? Who can you amplify? Who can you help market right alongside you? Now, this lady here, this is Dr. Joel P. Martin. She is also a friend of George Frazier's, Uncle George, and she's over the Power Networking Academy, one of the lecturers, I guess you would say. But she also helps pick some of the people for George's conference. I met her years ago. She used to have an advertising agency, and she was one of the first Black women that I knew that had an ad agency, and it wasn't Joel P. Martin then, it was JP Martin. And she was in New York, and I used to, when I was in college, I would hear about this Black woman that had this ad agency. Well, years later, I finally run into her, and George are friends, and I tell her about it. Well, we ended up being reconnecting again. So it's one of those things where if you have an honest opinion about someone, you like them from afar, tell them. Tell them. Terry Williams was one of those people as well, one of my mentors, that is a PR agency. The Terry Williams agency is no longer, she's retired now, but she handled Janice Jackson, Grant Hill, Mary J. Blige, all of the celebrities. This is what Terry did. She came out of social work, right? And I remember the people who are successful, what I find, whether it's in PR or anything, is that they're givers. They are collaborators. They know how to market themselves, but they also know how to share. And so one of the things I just wanted, just for you to know, that collaboration is a new Black. Say that collaboration is a new Black. Doesn't matter what's going on in the world. If we have each other, we will win. And then the other thing is, like, it's not just a trend to just say, oh, I want to collaborate, but it's a movement. My friend, Rob YB Youngblood, who we do our podcast with, the Speakers Magazine, he wrote a book, Collaboration is Currency. And it is currency. If you find Dr. Cheryl Wood, one of the things that is successful about Cheryl, the nugget, if you kind of take this story, what I'm trying to say, of the different people on the covers, is that they have communities, that they create communities, that before she was quote unquote Dr. Cheryl Wood, which, by the way, the doctorate on Dr. Cheryl Wood came from a recommendation from a friend of mine, Dr. Portia Lockett, who met Dr. Cheryl and told her about the opportunity about getting her honorary doctorate. So just opening your mouth to say, to recommend, and she didn't even know that that was a thing, because Cheryl didn't go to uh, graduate from a university, but she is an honorary doctorate because of her body of work. But that only came because Portia had it, and that was all from Dr. George Fraser as well. But what I want to say is that her community, the Global Speakers University, even before that, she was meeting with people at restaurants. You could start small. You don't have to build a community of 500 people. But if you have a heart of people who are like-minded and you have a meetup, I don't care if it's brunch or whatever, but she did that for many, many years, pulling together like-minded people and pouring into them for many years before she became what she did. Another person that does the same thing, who's gotten great success, she's been in Essence, she's been on a lot of different media outlets, hundreds and hundreds of podcasts. She was on the cover of Speakers Magazine last year, is Kamika, Dr. Kamika Smith. Boss, bringing out successful sisters. That's what she did. She was a teacher. She got laid off, and she just started networking groups. And every single month, she would hold an event. Well, 20 years later, she's doing all of these things, and she's getting a lot of grants. She gives away grants. She helps people with their businesses. All of these stories are in Speakers Magazine. And so I want to say that the magazine, it's online and it is free. But if you read it and see how success leaves clues, you'll see that they all have these communities that they gave to before they actually started really receiving the success that they're receiving. And just want to, it's something that, from the outside, you see all these people winning, but you go back through any of the stories, because even Dr. Darnell was on the cover, you will see that their heart is about their mission, about helping people, just helping people, and helping Black people. Okay. Carmen, the same thing, helping Black people. And that's what I really promote. So her main thing is that it was called Transformation Gems. And her main thing is helping gifting entrepreneurs with millionaire status. That is thing. She had a conference this past weekend. but it's an empowerment conference. And she does it with her own time. No one was paying her when she first started, but it was something that God put on her heart. So at this point, what is God laying on your heart to do? Who does he want you to help? Just help yourself? I mean, that's fine. You do want to help yourself, but people who have success are the ones that have something that's bigger than them. I was interviewing a lady yesterday, Kaylin, and her book is called Dreams and Visions. It's on Amazon. Really, really good. But her main thing is that she was in an abusive relationship. She got out. She started an organization called SAFE, and I don't want to mess it up, but it talks about financial things, you know, for women who are in abuse situations. She's done that for 20 years. And she's been written in all of the magazines. She's gotten all the publicity, Essence, Ebony, da 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 da, this and that. Caitlin Risker, you Google her. And her book finally just came out, but she said it really is about dreams and goals. She says, and God just put on my heart to help women get out of this situation, especially if they're in domestic violence situations. It's really because of financial situations where they're staying and that sort of thing. But she did it because, yeah, she could have probably just said, you know what, I'm getting out of the situation. I'm gonna go get a job. I'm gonna go sit down and I'm gonna be quiet. But that's not what God had for her. She started this organization from scratch. She gets funding and grants and all that. She gets the publicity. It's her life now. She has a really good twisted storyteller story that is like a Black TEDx style story on on YouTube, and it talks about her, how she met her husband in 2015, and 2 months later they met, they got engaged. 2 months later he was in the Virgin Islands, and that's where she lives now, in the Virgin Islands, from Detroit. Now she's living in the Virgin Islands. Really, really funny story, and like a really a fairy tale in terms of that. So anyway, long story short, it's kind of like a Stella got her groove back type of thing, but this one actually went good. The other person that I enjoy in learning clues from, again, a lot of these you can from the speakersmagazine.com if you go there. One of the things Reverend Benjamin Chavis, Dr. Ben Chavis, he's out of DC, is that he has spent his life, but he's obviously a civil rights leader, but he's also very, very successful. He has a PBS show. You see the glory, but you don't know the story. And I try to tell the stories within the magazine. And it's always good that, you know, we should all look cute and all that kind of stuff, but we want to make sure that we're going deeper and that we are sharing with one another. If you have something that you do, then you should partner with someone else, because synergy energy it multiplies what you're doing. You're connecting, you're collaborating. And I can help you with all the PR and press releases and really get you on television shows. But if you don't know how to collaborate, it doesn't matter, because you're not leveraging what you're doing to make a big difference. So I want you out of this masterclass to really know that no matter what's going on in the world, you can always recommend, you can always referral. Don't be afraid to think that somebody's going to get more than me, because you're going to be sowing a seed. You don't know how it's going to come back. It may not come back from the person that you gave. The person that I helped a lot is Sean Fair. I helped a lot of his people. Actually, when Sean first started, he had no speakers on his stage, none. And I had Dr. Missy there. I had Sylvia there. Ty Banks' sister Toy was there. So it was a lot of different people that came that really brought the heat for his stage, and it grew and grew. And now it's like 5 years later, I believe it is. And sometimes people can stay on the entire ride for you, but sometimes it's just about just really getting them started and then let them go ride. But you want to make sure that you put into them that they are going to pay it forward. So even though he says, well, I helped that person, whatever, long as you instilled in them that you help them, they will pay it forward. And that's really the most important thing, because it started out talking about this book that I picked up the other day and read it again, about the Willie Lynch letter and the making of a slave. The mentality is for us to break apart and not work together. but we should work together because that's how we're going to get through all of this, is through collaboration, community, consistency, connecting, referrals, recommendations. I saw Sharice is on here. I'll put you out a little bit, Sharice. Sharice is a brilliant young lady. Love her. And I always saw that she was going to be special just when she was even in high school because my daughter knew her. But I went to high school with her mom. And so I saw Sharice not too long ago. And I said, hey, what are you doing? She was at this event for the city of Detroit. She says, hey, I'm doing this. And I was like, okay, you got that contract, you know, whatever, whatever. And, you know, I said, whatever I could do to help you, just let me know. Well, not too long ago, we connected again and we're going for a particular contract together. And it was one of those things where even before Sharice did that, I think I saw her another time and I says, hey, you work at LinkedIn. I said, my cousin works at LinkedIn. Make sure that you all meet. So wherever you go, make sure that you can find someone that you can connect with, because you never know how that link could be in the next level of where they need to be. And you're the person that may be holding it back because you don't want to say anything. Like I said, if someone was on a podcast and you were on their podcast, recommend another person to the podcast. If you were in somebody's newspaper, recommend them or keep in touch with them and say, hey, are you looking for anyone else? If you are a speaker and you spoke as a keynote speaker for an event, they know, you know, they won't have you back next year. Recommend a colleague that you says, you know what, you're going to have this event next year. I have another person. Her name is Vicky. Vicky would be great. I'll give you her link. I'll give you her website. I'll make an email introduction. I'll text you both in a group text. Whatever you have to do. We've got to learn this etiquette about how to talk to people. Because I'm telling you, this social media is going to make a whole generation of folks that just don't know how to talk to people. And it's going to be sad because they don't know how to connect. They don't want to pick up the phone. But there's conferences like the National Urban League that's in Cleveland, conferences like the National Association of Black Journalists. Go. Those that show up and go up. Power Networking is going to be coming out in November. That is, I believe that's going to be in Atlanta. But wherever there are places where you go, don't just go hand out business cards. The main work is really afterwards, knowing who knows who and how you connect. And so one of the things that George always taught us is that you learn to give before you ask. When you meet someone, and this is almost like a networking one-on-one, I'm a publicist, so publicists have to know people and how to network and how to connect and connect the dots. I've got like thousands of media outlets in my brain, right? I have to know what reporter does what, but I also have to know what person to match that reporter with. But the main thing is always learn to give before you ask. And, you know, we kind of know it online. If you want someone to give you their email address, don't just ask for it, you give them something for it. I think that people understand that in digital marketing. But in the real world, in real life, we want to make sure that we are going to be offering someone something of value without even expecting anything in return from that person. Without expecting anything in return from that person. You give without expecting anything in return, because it may not come from that person. It may come from something else because you sowed a good seed. And so getting rid of jealousy, envy, people who is like, who does she think she is? All of that. In this season, Black people need to come together because listen, obviously, well, we should have had a different president. So we should make sure that the situation that is going on now with them getting rid of DEI, getting rid of all this and that, whatever, that we come together. So who can you recommend? I had someone that texted me today and says, hey, my job is going to be ending. Do you know of anyone? Yeah, they could probably go on LinkedIn and go to Indeed and all these other places. But we know that most of things come from word of mouth. That if you know someone that knows someone, that you've got to share and say. And that's really like the main thing. I had a whole PowerPoint I had a whole PowerPoint that I wanted to go over, but I did want to share in my heart about that. Again, like I said, the Black Door Society, uh, our group is really, we're sisters. And the brothers, they can have it too. I mean, it's not like it's just women that can only network, but men network too. I mean, I saw the Black, I think it was Black Executive Men or something like that on LinkedIn. It was a group of guys, and they were doing some things. So when we come together, we're not to be jealous of each other. We don't want to pull each other down. We don't want to be the crab in the barrel. You heard that syndrome too. That part we don't want. We want to pull each other up. We want to lift as we climb. Go through the magazines. Now, this is a little trick. Throughout the whole Speakers Magazine, everybody's email or their website is on there. If you read someone and says, and it looks like God says, reach out to them, do it. Just say, hey, I read about you in Speakers Magazine. I saw that you did A, B, and C. Why don't we do a webinar together? Or just look them up and say, hey, let's just have a quick virtual coffee Zoom meeting. You never know what's going to come from that. We could be so busy doing all these things, trying to get in certain places where you can have one conversation with one person and they can just open that door. But we don't, because for whatever reason, we don't want to collaborate. All right. So if you want to collaborate right now, feel free to put things in the chat. I don't mind. You can put your website in the chat. You can connect with each other. You could kind of give a little blurb about what each other does. It could be collaboration right here. Now, I just said, learn to give before you ask. So don't put in your latest special deal or buy my book Amazon link. Put in just your information and what it is that you do and how you serve, right? That's one of the main things. So I just want to make sure that you understood that, knowing, building something that's real, that's sustainable, not just looking like you're successful, but being successful. That's one, PR is about really promoting, amplifying, marketing your brand. It's not about just trying to look like you flossing when you're not. Okay. And I ain't for that. I ain't never been for that. So I'm gonna share a screen. I'll go through it really, really quick and offer what I was going to share so that you can, if you want to speak with me about the type of things that you're doing, hit share here. All right. Okay. So yeah, so this right here is a video. Something. Right. Can you all hear that?
The sound went out a little bit.
Want to know how to get 500 plus media placements and over 100 million. Dr. Pam is offering generating PR with our quick media coverage PR packages. Dr. Pam Berry is a master publicity strategist that shows speakers and experts how to get seen, get heard, and get noticed so they can get paid. If you want to get guaranteed
Natalie.
Now.
All right. So just so that you know, for those of you who are I just started going off, didn't I? For those of you who aren't familiar with me, I am a publicist and have been for a while. I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of speakers and authors over the years. I don't really have like that whole formal thing the way people do. It's like, oh, this is what I do. Google me. No, I'm just kidding. But I've been doing my business for about 20 years, and I've worked with, oh, good, Sharice. I've worked with a lot of speakers and authors over the year. I'm trying to get this thing here to.
You're an author or a speaker.
Okay, there we go. So, from TD Jakes to Cindy Trim to Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, like I said, George Frazier. I love working with those who want to make a difference with their voice, with their business, those that are subject matter experts or expertise that are trying to make a difference in the world. Now, I have done things for other companies. I've worked for McDonald's. I've worked, done PR for Dunkin' Donuts. No shade against that, but that's just food. Okay, I'm talking about real transformation that people can do. So I work really with those and promote and amplify those that are subject matter experts. PR builds your credibility, visibility. Using the media is one of the main things. You can actually do a lot on social media, but really the media is that credibility factor, because anybody can put anything up on a website, but in order for the media to write about, you'd have to be vetted. So one of my clients here, Tamira Chapman, won a Entrepreneur of the Year, and we did some media for her as well. Again, a lot of this is what Tamira wanted to do. Her company is called Storehouse in the Box. And the reason why I liked working with her, she does, for all of her business that she does, and she does subscription boxes, she gives back to a foundation. She builds wells in Africa. She's very, very successful. She's helping amplify Black women with Penguin Random House right now as well, with a Storehouse publishing arm. So all of these things were intentional. We helped brand it. Again, you can see all of the things that she's done. She did the beginning of 2023, I believe, was 2023. She did a book chat with Michelle Obama as well. And that was in like a subscription box that actually went out. And then also too, I do television. People, do you do television? Yes, I do television. I help people get TV features, but only after what I call they have done the long form content, where for me, this is how I create your story, your pitch. You have a story written in quick media coverage, speakers magazine, something that's tangible, that's a story, not just a television feature. Television feature would only probably be about, like Dr. Geneva's was only about 5 minutes. So you want to, less than that really. So you want to have long form stories that tell your stories. I help shape that and pitch those. That's definitely one of the things. You can go to pamperrypr.com and you can go to PR Success and you'll see some of the stories that are written. Definitely love radio, Sirius XM. One of our best buddies has us doing a lot of Sirius XM shows. That's from the Black Door Society, Sharon Morton. Radio is not dead. It is one of my favorite, actually my first job was in radio. I worked for NPR. Magazines, obviously I love magazines as well. Magazines are those feature stories that definitely position you, especially if it's the specialized magazines that don't overlook, even though it may not be a big magazine like a Time or whatever, but look at the ones that are in your niche and definitely make sure you're pitching those. Podcasts, I always tell people to start out with podcasts, start out with online stories and start out with podcasts. There is a organization that I work with, and even with Ready, Set, Go, Speak, I let them know that they can pitch podcasts, and I give them podcasts. They probably have hundreds of podcasts, interview outlets that they can pitch themselves to. Podcasting are great. They stay there forever. And then also too, speaking on stages is part of PR. Now, a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to speak and I'm going to get paid like Les Brown, $30,000, $40,000. Now, listen, Les ain't getting that every week. And I'm not going to say that you don't have to, that you won't get paid to speak, but you speaking as PR as a way to get in front of your audience. So many people are selling this dream like, oh, I'm going to speak and I'm going to get paid millions of dollars or whatever. You may get paid an honorarium. You may get paid, maybe up to 5,000, 7,500. But for the most part, if you have a business, you have something to sell, you can actually make more by doing that, by setting up your business so that you can go and speak on the stage. All right. And you got to have a speaker reel. I do every year, Speak, Sell, Shine. Natalie was a part of that as well at the Howard Theater. Because one of the things, if they're going to pick you to speak, they want to see you speaking on a stage. And it has to be good. So use speaking as a way to promote your platform. And then the combo is using all of them, the magazines, the newspapers, the online hubs, the TV, the radio, the stages, all of that. They amplify the other, promote, amplify, and market, and marketing. Because you want to be Googleicious. I was trying to find this lady today. I forgot what her name was. And her link was broken on her LinkedIn, and I was trying to find her doing this and what. Googled her, could not find her. I was like, you know what, ma'am? For you to be a business coach and a speaker, I said, it's not working. You need to be Googleicious. So if you want to get PR, what do you want PR to do for you? You have to look at the metrics of visibility, client acquisition, revenue, brand recognition. Those are the things that PR should do for you. PR is not going to sell for you, but it will open the door and make selling easy. So if you are, I want to make sure I'm good on time, ready to amplify your message, you can book a VIP strategy call with me. Oh, okay. And open it up for questions. You can book a VIP strategy call with me. You can apply at pamperrypr.com, VIP, or also too, you can call my assistant at the 690 number as well. And then make it happen. We also have Expert Insight, which is a television show that we do where it comes with a VIP day as well. That's pamperrypr.com, VIP Expert Day. And that is what I have for you right now. But my main thing, the takeaway was collaboration. Collaboration. Yes, that's it. This is glad to meet you. Yes, I love your special individual person. Love the collaboration. And also to Wanda, her mentor, Dr. Dorothy Height, was a big collaborator, right? She was your mentor. So when you look at the people who are successful, who we really love and enjoy, they are those community organizers, right? It's like Barack Obama. He was a community organizer, but people who bring people together for a purpose and for a mission. Yes, we do want to get out there. We do want to shine, but it's not always about us. We're being used as a tool. And so you're using your expertise to shine, to really bring a people together. Because no matter what's going to be going on in the United States, we've had tougher times than this. We really have. We've had tougher times than this. So what lessons have we learned? We had to come together. And that is what we still have to do. And don't back down. Don't be afraid. Continue to market, continue to referral and recommend each other. That is really, really key. Get mentors, get coaches. Don't think that, okay, well, there's no sense in me doing anything, that I'm not going to go for that contract. Well, if you don't go for it, that's just going to leave more for them to go for, because you didn't apply. So still apply, still act as if, continue to work. The only thing that I would say is that we have to collaborate and just keep your mission in mind. You know, NatalieASolomon.com. I see that there. I see Tanisha Guide there as well. You know, and one of the main things, James, I see you there as well as your thing. I will say this, so that just not put no shade on nobody, but anybody who's in my Ready, Set, Go Speak program, they know I talk about it all the time. It's one of the first things in the Branding Accelerator course is that we're going to make sure that we show up strong without having a Gmail. So the reason why is that if I'm going to send an email to someone, it's Pam at pamperrypr.com or staff at pamperrypr.com, they know that they can find out a little bit more about me because of that branded domain name in my email. I can't find the branded email. I can't find your website in a Gmail. I could just find Gmail. So we want to make sure that we are always going to use a branded email. That is one of the first things that the media will look at. They'll look at that right away. Like, you know, are they playing in the program? Or are they playing in amateurs? You know, so we want to make sure that we always come out like we're the pro. So we want to, and it's really easy to do. Go to GoDaddy.com, and basically you can forward it that to your email. I mean, to your website. And if you don't know how to do it, I'm sure Sharice McAdoo could help you as well, because she's very savvy in all things technology. So yours, James, should be James at orphanedheart.org. Okay. If I don't know what that is, I could just kind of go orphanedheart.org and I can go to it that way, versus like just saying it's a Gmail, right? So you want to make sure that you do that, to do that. And the same thing too with you, Nicole Shelton, if you have anything for sure. But yeah, collaboration is the new black. I am so adamant about that because I've heard so many people saying that, you know, their sales are down and things aren't working right or whatever. And it's like, we have got to depend on each other. We can't depend on what's going on in the world. All right. So Black people have been in tougher spots in this. And so we want to make sure that even if you can't make an event, you know, tell the organizer, hey, I'll share your information out. I'll tell someone else. I can't make it, but I'll go. There was a client that has a TEDx talk this coming weekend, and I couldn't make it. And I said, I'm going to give the tickets to someone else so they can go. So my program, if you want to join us, a community, is Ready, Set, Go, Speak.com, readysetgospeak.com. We meet every Friday. It's like part mentoring, mastermind, and I also give media leads every week and awards that they can apply for. We have guest speakers. I tried to make this something that I would want to be a part of. So I've been in a lot of different things and was like, it was missing this. So I put together the things that I wanted. There's courses in there. There's a vault in there. There are things in there that the community, I want them to support each other. Dr. Eugenia is in there as well. So, and Wanda's in there as well as Natalie. So if you want to join us, readysetgospeak.com, you could go there, and it is a commitment for a year. It ain't like, you know, 90 days or 30 days, it's going to magically happen. This is overtime because we've got to work with that. So with that, if there are any questions, I'm going to turn the recording off. And with that, I am done recording. This is Pam Perry, and I'm out.